Up in northern Colorado, the union representing meatpacking workers, JBS and Greeley, says they've come to an agreement to ratify a new contract. It comes after a 3-week strike where thousands of workers walked off the job, basically shutting down the factory. Who got a better end of this deal following the strike depends on which side you ask. JBS is, of course, one of the largest food producers in the world, and their plant in Greeley is one of the largest in North America. They were calling for higher wages and safer working conditions when the union chose to strike. They returned to work last Tuesday, even though they had yet to reach an agreement at that time. Today, the union said they ratified the tentative 2-year collective bargaining agreement. The union says the new contract will give workers new wage increases that are 33% higher than JBS's offer before the strike. They also say the agreement will prevent JBS from charging employees for personal protective equipment. That was one of the main sticking points that led to the strike in the first place. JBS, though, on the other hand, says the strike ended without any major changes to the company's offer. The final agreement remains similar to what JBS presented the union months ago. JBS put out a press release this evening saying that the union reallocated pension contributions to wage increases, foregoing pension benefits. The union, though, says that's a total lie, and workers at this plant have never had a pension. As part of the agreement, the union is also withdrawing 7 alleged unfair labor practice charges. The agreement runs through April of 2028.
Fort Collins police say there is no evidence to suggest that the man accused of shooting at cars with a pellet gun was actually targeting staff, families, or children at a nearby school. Despite evidence, he was tracking parents dropping off kids from a school drop-off area. Police arrested 55-year-old Jamal Lorius at his home on South Shields Street back on March 26th after an investigation into cars being shot at with a pellet gun. According to court documents, police found several firearms and ammunition and a list that looked like it was tracking people and cars that passed his home. Police say he caused more than $15,000 of damage. Just last week, a judge approved a red flag order prohibiting him from having guns for a year.
A state program for future teachers may be at risk of losing funding as Colorado is facing a $1 billion shortfall. The Teacher Recruitment and Education Preparation Program could see its final cohort of students. The program allowed high schoolers to earn college credit at no cost for up to 2 years post-graduation. Bipartisan bill sponsors argue the program serves a small number of students and is expensive. Hundreds of students are currently enrolled. They won't be affected, but seniors who were banking on that opportunity are now scrambling to figure out alternatives.
We are still probably looking at Metro, trying to find more scholarships, but I'm hoping that there can be a change and we can continue this program because I do think it's really beneficial.
The bill has passed through the House and is now moving on to the Senate.
Work is set to begin this week on the Pike National Forest in southwest Colorado. They're trying to minimize the impacts from mountain pine beetles. The U.S. Forest Service says crews will begin spraying 17 campgrounds in the National Forest starting tomorrow. The agency said these trees will be sprayed with a chemical of some kind to provide protection for several years from the beetles. That insect slowly kills the trees, and of course it later turns into kindling for potential wildfires. Democratic Governor Jared Polis created a whole task force late last year trying to battle these insects and help restore the forests. The Forest Service says many of the campgrounds are still closed out there for the season, so visitors really shouldn't see any impacts. The treatment is expected to last until April 23rd. Now, let's move on to the latest in the Middle East, where President Trump said today U.S. Navy ships would serve as a blockade, stopping ships from entering or leaving the Strait of Hormuz.
Comes a day after the U.S. and Iran ended 21 hours of negotiations without reaching a peace deal in Pakistan. The U.S. Central Command says the blockade will impact all Iranian ports as well as coastal areas, but it will not impede vessels moving between non-Iranian ports. The strait is a critical route for oil and gas, of course. Vice President J.D. Vance led the peace talks in Islamabad yesterday with Iranian officials. Both sides said that there were still significant differences. Vance said Iran did not commit to forgoing building nuclear weapons in the future. Tonight, President Trump said he is not pressing for another round of peace talks.
No, I don't care if they come back or not. If they don't come back, I'm fine. Their military is gone. Their missiles are largely depleted. The manufacturing capability for missiles and drones is largely defeated.
Meanwhile, talks between Israeli and Lebanese diplomats are expected to take place this week.
Voters in Hungary have now ousted the long-serving Prime Minister Viktor Orban after 16 years in power. He quickly conceded defeat after what he called a painful result. It really was a stunning blow for Orban, who is a close ally of both President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin. And this comes just days after Vice President J.D. Vance made a visit to Hungary to campaign for Orban. Orban caught the attention of the MAGA movement with his stance on immigration and curtailing of LGBTQ rights. Now his loss will be a relief to many leaders in Europe, where he has clashed with other members of the European Union. Orban recently blocked billions in funding to Ukraine. The election winner, Peter Major, has pledged now to rebuild Hungary's relationships with the EU and NATO.